We at ET Now are celebrating some very inspiring women, and with an illustrious alumni including the likes of Ratan Tata, Meera Sanyal and Cyrus Mistry, the Cathedral and John Connon School has a very rich legacy, and at the forefront of education is recently retired Meera Isaacs, who served 44 years in the institution, different roles, finally as principal. She takes a walk down memory lane with me, talking about pruning talent, the challenges faced during the pandemic and her advice to young women. Listen in. Known as one of the 10 most inspiring women in school education and synonymous with education in India is Meera Isaacs, the former principal and dean of Cathedral and John Connon School in Mumbai. And I'm in conversation with her this Women's Day to talk about her journey as well as her advice for young women. Thank you so much, Mrs. Isaacs, for joining us today. You know, you began your career as a teacher, you moved on to becoming house mistress as well as then to vice principal and then principal. Take us through your journey, and how important do you think it is to start from the bottom up?
First of all, thank you. Thank you for interviewing me and heaping all these wonderful adjectives on me. But yes, I think it is very important going through, what shall I say, I began as a rookie teacher, never expected to stay on. I came as a substitute and then just went on to be class teacher and house mistress and vice principal before I became principal. It was I think it's a very important journey to go through because then you understand the ethos and the tradition and the inheritance of Cathedral School and what it stands for.
Was it a very male-dominated industry at the time? Did you have any difficulties or challenges that you faced owing to your gender as a woman?
I think yes, there was. Most of the teachers were men, or rather a huge number of them were men, especially in the senior school. I think the only problem used to be I remember when the women got very annoyed about the fact that they were not being paid the same allowance for being house mistresses. But that was solved immediately. But you see, I think there were these little things that one didn't really think about. But over here, I never felt that.
Now, if we talk about the legacy, the alumni of Cathedral, I mean, there have been some very, commendable people who've left, be it Cyrus Mistry, Ratan Tata, etc. What about the legacy, do you think? What's the secret sauce of Cathedral that makes it so special?
If I were to look at it, I think it's just the building and the aura and the fun and the traditions of playing in the gym, all that sort of thing takes on a sort of a glow and a luminosity as far as the kids are concerned. And of course their teachers, they have tremendous. They always speak very highly of their teachers, especially the older you get, the more you think back.
And there have been some challenging times. For instance, the COVID-19 pandemic that really shifted the way education was perceived. It was very challenging for the students as well as for the teachers. How did you cope and make that transition to online?
What are we getting into? And nobody ever thought that this was going to last for as long as it did. But they were just absolutely wonderful. I mean, they were really stupendous. Everybody jumped into it and learned exactly how to cope. So in next to no time, I mean, everybody was on was zooming with gusto.
Speaking of, what do you believe is the future of education in this very highly tech-driven world?
I think this is here to stay. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And definitely, our children are going to they will have to collaborate, creativity is one of the very, very important things of life right now. And look at the opportunities. It's unbelievable, unthinkable for a few years ago. This is here definitely, and very likely we could have a kind of a hybrid system still.
And finally, for all the young women watching you, any words of advice or pearls of wisdom to?
They just need to do what they need to do. Okay. Not allow anyone to put them down, because I know that especially in our Indian context, there's so much nonsense going on. I mean, there's color and race and caste and this and that. none of it matters. So they just have to be very, very strong in themselves, have tremendous belief in themselves, which I see no reason why they shouldn't. And I think that's the way forward. And to be a human being, a good human being, above everything else. At the core. There's no question about that.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Isaacs, for speaking with us. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming.